Sewa, sewa yo, sewa, sewa yo, hey, 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 sewa, sewa yo, sewa, sewa yo, hey.
Hello and welcome. And as you can hear, we have a shamanic topic today, and I have with me Mira. She's coming from California and part from England, but maybe you introduce yourself and can you tell me what you are and what you just did?
Oh.
4 questions.
Yeah.
For free. Confusing.
Well, I'm Mira Michelle, and I just sang a very old song from the Yaqui people. It's a healing song for the earth. So what I first like to do before I begin to talk from here is to open here and connect to what is here. So that's with the ground, with Mother Earth, give respect, and to sing a song, to make an offering for all people.
Usually we don't do that before a show. Now you have called the spirits, so to say. Do you get an impression what they think when we do a show with all these cameras? I mean, it's quite technical stuff, a lot of electricity. How do they perceive it when we do a show?
Well, I didn't exactly call them. That's a different work. But I welcomed, I opened the space, and just said, hello, we are here, and we want to acknowledge all of the energies here, not only the cameras, the people, and what's maybe outside or underneath. So it's just sort of like a welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome.
We haven't really introduced you, so really good. Can you tell us a little bit where you're from? Obviously there's some Native American background.
Yeah. On my father's side, he's African American, Cherokee and Blackfoot Indian. And he met my mother in Ipswich, England in the 1960s.
Okay.
He was a GI. He was in the United States Air Force. And they fell in love. And she's English. It was a little bit like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier. Like, okay. Who is this guy you're coming home with?
Okay.
He's a black Indian, Mom. He's really cool. But my English family, being very open people, welcomed him. He's a good man. And they were married there in England. And we spent many years sort of, military families. They like to go here and there and here and there. And so we spent many years going to different places. And eventually we settled in California when I was 12 and a half.
That's a good mixture. Does the Native American background come through natural, or did you, after a while, discover that there are some roots that you didn't know about, or was it part of all your life, or did you at a certain time discover it? Yeah,
that's a very good question. I like when people ask me this question because I feel that the answer can include many of us. Well, I always knew the link. I saw the picture of my grandfather, my father's father, and his full-blooded Cherokee mother, and she died very young, unfortunately. But I didn't really think so much about it. I was living life like any other Western-minded person. And then sort of like mid-20s, I mean, I read a lot about the Indians. I read what happened. I had a lot of compassion and feeling towards it. But then sort of like my mid-20s, I met a native Indian peace chief
Hmm?
And I was very attracted. I'm like, okay, I want to meet this guy. Who is he?
Yeah.
And then I went on this journey with Chief Sunny Rayner. His spirit name is Whirlwind Eagle Wolf. And he is the one that gifted me or gave me permission to sing the Yaqui Indian songs in my work.
So he taught you. He said you're permitted. You said, why is that? That you need permission to do it. Do you need to learn it, or what's happening there on your way? Was there an event when you saw, oh, there's something happening with me, or something happened during a ritual or whatever, that you saw, oh, I want to do that?
Well, something like that. Something like that. We began to work together. It's actually not like a training, like going to a seminar or teaching in that way. It's not obvious, like now I'm going to teach you point A through point Z. It's like, okay, hang out with me and see what you can learn. Let's do a ceremony, you know. And then you sort of learn by doing. You learn by being in the energy and allowing yourself to be open. And it's amazing how much you learn through that. And what we have inside is connecting or corresponding, or maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on what you're attracted to, what your attraction is. And so that's what happened with him. And when I came to Europe, I invited him over, first to Spain and then to Germany. And we just worked on the land and built a sweat lodge, did many different ceremonies. Yeah.
What was his perception when he was coming to Europe? Did he say, oh, there's a lot of work to do here, or is it everywhere in the world a lot of work to do? What's the healing aspect of it?
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do everywhere on the planet. And anywhere on the planet where there's been trauma on the land or war, things like this, there's healing to do, to be done, to release this old stuck energies. We did, for instance, a very deep work in Hanover one time. We had a fairly large group of people, and we came there to do another work. And when we were in this very old building, it was a theater actually, he said to me, Mira, we're going to do the wiping away the tears ceremony. And I was like, oh, really, Chief? Are you sure? You know.
Okay.
And he goes, yeah, we got to do it. I feel it. I feel all these spirits around here. And I go, okay, let's do it. And I wasn't sure if it was gonna happen or gonna go off with the people, because the people weren't used to that sort of deep ceremony. It's a very old ceremony. It's thousands of years old. And you basically, from your mother's line all the way back, from your father's line all the way back, you clear the lines. It's a deep ancestor clearing ceremony. And I thought, well, look at all these intellectual people sitting here, like, whoa, well, okay, let's see,
Perfect.
And it was so incredible what happened in there.
Yeah.
That people just connected in. And a lot of spirits were released that day. A lot of ghosts, we like to perhaps say, or people that lost their lives and didn't realize. And
was there a war or some?
There was a lot of bombing in Hanover.
Yeah. So World War II or what?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are certain places where there's a lot of ghosts hanging around because they didn't hear the shot, so to say. They didn't go to the light, or
the spirits. What can tend to happen is that the spirits of the people, when the people lose their lives very quickly, it's a shock.
Yeah.
You know, and so the spirit stays earthbound. It doesn't move on. And sometimes they don't even know that they're dead.
There's this movie Sixth Sense, I don't know if
yeah,
you know it.
Yeah.
It's amazing because
it's something
nobody
like that.
knows that they're dead, and they are behaving like we behave, and they don't know that they are not physical anymore.
Exactly.
How can that happen? Is it really feeling the same when you're dead and you have... shouldn't you notice that you're dead?
Well, what do you think? I mean, I don't know. I've not been dead. I haven't had that experience. But from what I can sense as a person that works with energies energetically, is that it's there's actually such a thin line between our consciousness and having a body, and our consciousness and not having a body.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, when we get a shock in our physical body, yeah, and we keep our physical body, you know what animals do when they get shocked to heal themselves? They shake, and they shake, and they shake, and they shake till the trauma is out. But what we human beings do is when we get a shock, we tend to just bury it somewhere in our bodies and hope that a moment comes up that we can release it. Oftentimes, we may develop another illness from that suppressed energy.
We don't talk about it, we don't share it with others. And
exactly.
we hide it somewhere.
Somewhere in either in the field or in our physical body somewhere.
So
yeah.
what do you do with a place like that? I mean, the place is one thing, but it's actually the soul's there, or is there something in the place that has a good or bad energy, or has it always have to do with the spirits that's hanging around there, so to say?
Yeah, it depends, case by case. Sometimes there's a lot of energy there, and the space may hold it. The place may hold that energy in there, know. This one particular place we were working on, it was just full. It was a very old site. It also had been an old site for where they burned women as witches also.
No.
So it had already that attraction.
Yeah.
And then the city was bombed extensively,
So a lot of suffering over the centuries, so
over
to
the
say.
centuries. And you can feel it when you walk, and if you're sensitive, or if you've trained those skills.
But how can you? That's the next
training.
question.
It's
you can
training.
learn that.
Yeah.
Everybody can learn.
Everyone, sure. We all have that. It's just a matter of if you want to build this muscle, you got to train it.
Work it out. Yeah.
Work it out.
What would be your suggestion if someone says, "Yes, I want to get more sensitive" or whatever? What would be a good suggestion? What people could do to train that?
Train those senses that are there. Well, first of all, I would say to start meditating, to get very quiet inside. Train the breathing a bit. And it doesn't have to take long. Some people hear meditation and think, oh no, I have to give 1 or 2 hours a day. That's too long. I have a busy schedule, things like this. But actually, no, 10 minutes. 10 minutes a day, around about the same time, just breathing and feeling that energy get in the body. Because mostly what I see with people is that half of their energy is out of their body. They're not really sitting in their energy field, And when they get their energy fully in their body, they're like, wow, that feels good.
So our attention is mostly distracted. So there's a monitor, there's a TV, there's a PC, there's everything around. There's people outside, maybe there's a noise, there's someone moving along.
Our consciousness is going so many different places, and what happened last night when I had the conversation with the person, or what happened 20 years ago, that's just back in there somewhere.
So you're not here now, but then you settle down, and try to put your attention, your focus just on what's there.
Only what's there. And a nice suggestion is when we breathe in, we just think in. And when we breathe out, we just think out. And that's it. In, out, in.
So
out.
our mind is busy
exactly.
too,
exactly.
It always starts to
give the mind something to chew on, a bit of chewing gum,
Okay. So he's busy and
it's simply that.
Okay.
To start with that. And it's good to have someone that has some skills. I like to call them our evolutionary older sister or brother that one can sit with in a simple circle, perhaps. Or
if we don't know anybody who we can do that with,
then
if someone is really alone, sitting there somewhere. Some of our viewers may be alone in some big house and they know nobody and just watching this program. What can they do?
Well, they can begin to meditate, this 10 minutes, and they can ask. Because, it's all about our point of attraction also. If we don't focus on that as a matter of importance for us, then chances are it won't come to visit us. But if we begin to put our focus there and say, that's important for me, I'm going to focus on that. And I'm going to do these breathing exercises for 10 minutes every day. And then when I begin to feel it in my body, I'm going to ask, I would like to meet other people that would like to do this. You know who you're going to meet at the supermarket in 2 weeks?
You're going to find somebody.
You're going to find someone.
It's based on resonance,
Yeah.
and other people will be attracted to
Exactly.
you because you radiate it out in a way, and
Yeah.
some people who are maybe not consciously sensing it, but in
Mm-hmm.
a way, everybody has a resonance who is on the same level of thinking, so to say.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And it will come. You know, we've all heard these stories of these wonderful synchronicities becoming alive. Like, I was thinking about that, and I just met this person. That was amazing. You know, we're like, yeah, good.
What a good coincidence.
It's another word we like to use for it.
Chances are,
Yo,
but it's
yo.
not a coincidence. So you can work on that. You can work on places. You can imagine you live in a house and it doesn't feel good. You always have the impression, it's bad energy here. So you're doing healing of this. Can you say something for audiences when they have this impression? What can people do?
Well, first of all, they could start a more conscious practice, because it always starts with ourselves, right? It always starts here. And what I like to use is salvia or sage. Sage the areas, because obviously when we live somewhere for a certain amount of time, we have our own human dramas, right?
Yeah.
We may be getting some arguments or bisschen Streif, as you say in German. and it gets also stuck in the space. So if you're living on one energetic plane or plane of resonance, then you will attract it more. So to come through, some incense with the intention actually is more important than the substance you use. I mean, we could pick up some sage here. It's wonderful smelling, and it's been used for thousands of years just for doing that.
More from the American Indians, so to say,
for
or
the
the natives?
native Indians, yeah.
In Germany, I don't know. Do we have it? Does it grow in Germany, or do we have?
It's very difficult to grow in Germany because it's too damp here. Yeah.
Okay.
But we were talking earlier about the
Bifus and,
you can use that.
Okay.
It's great, or use an incense. But like the intention behind is, okay, I'm clearing now this space. We start with our own space.
Yeah.
We go in the corners, all four corners of every room, and bring the energy to the center of the room. And
You
just
have a feather here. Is it just to?
it's to cool you down. Cool me down too. Yeah, this is a feather from a turkey,
Okay.
and it's a gratitude feather. It's for giving thanks, this one. But you can use your whatever substance you choose, and go in all the corners like that, and go in the middle of the room.
But it might happen that you find a feather or something
Yeah.
coincidentally.
Yes, of course. Yes.
When you are in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about what you do now. I mean, where you come from, okay. Do you give seminars, or do you help people when are people coming to you and saying, I have a problem, can you do something about it?
Yeah. I have my own practice, so that's quantum shamanic healing practice. It's in Hamburg. And from there, many other works have developed. And one of the primary works that I'm doing right now is with women, but I work with men and women both. And it's called Sacred Female Rising.
Okay.
So the sacred female is rising. And basically, this work, or I could even call it a movement, is about to create a balance again with the feminine and masculine, a balance in our values, in our belief structures, a balance in our energetic fields, in different sectors in society also. So we see that, it takes the male and the female energy to create another being, living being, right? And it takes that biology, those genetics to create. And so we need the perspectives of both energetic realms, I feel, to bring balance, more balance on this earth. Yeah.
But I think that over the years, the energy of the male and the female has been, let's say, corrupted over centuries. There's a lot of things have happened, and I'm not sure that what we think is male today or female today is that what it is it really is? Can you be more specific about what really the energy is of a female and a male?
That's a good question, and that's always the question, essentially. And what we do in the workshop is that the women come together to investigate this for themselves. What is feminine or female energy for me? How do I run my female or feminine energy? What does it feel like in my body? You know, because we do put different attributes to the masculine and feminine that may or may not correspond to those energetic forms. So I see, if you ask me personally, I see the feminine as the yin energy. Classically, it's the energy which holds, right? It's the energy that has the possibility to hold all things like Mother Earth. And the yang energy is the one that moves, is the one that gives direction, is the one that looks like this, right? And so the male energy is really great for that. Okay, whoosh, bow and arrow, whoosh, you know, direction, focus. But then the male energy can be short-sighted because it doesn't see this, right? And the female energy, she's sitting like this, right? And those two together complement each other wonderfully, right? Yeah. And so when you have a room full of men who are making most of the decisions for society, then you've got a lot of men that look like that, right? And you don't have enough of the energy which holds. And I feel that is vastly important at these times.
I believe that's very important, of course, and both energies are important. I mean, not the one is better than the other.
Exactly.
That's in our society, it seems like the feminism today is trying to be better men or trying to be as successful as men, and that's not what it's about.
It's not what it's about. Absolutely not. It's not about competing anymore. We're sort of done with this competition model. We've exasperated it, actually, you know, and it doesn't work for our planet. It doesn't work for the source of which we bear fruit. You know, we see what's happening in agriculture. We see the destruction, you know. It's not about competing anymore, you know, or comparing.
Just the male energy to get as much out of the ground as possible and not thinking about what the effect is on planet Earth and on the ground and on sustaining life. And we see what all is leading now. I mean, genetically modified food is the best example for that.
That is a tough subject for me.
Sure.
I get a bit like, on this one. Yeah, I mean, because I'm primarily from California, spent many years living there, and what's happening in California with this GMO food, it's distressing. I mean, sometimes I go to visit my family and I go in a supermarket, and I barely even go in a supermarket because you don't even know what you're buying. There are no label rights there for the food, you know. And I thought, well, this can't be the way, or?
In Europe, it seems to be a little bit better because we don't take everything in that's coming from Monsanto, and so on. They're trying, of course, doing this free trade arrangement so that they can sell everything to Europe. Do you feel better in Europe about that, or what do you think? What can we do to change this? I mean, that's the male energy, as we said before, and we can't go to them and say, okay, you don't sell your stuff here anymore. How can this be changed on this planet?
Yeah, that's what we're asking ourselves over and over, you know. I do feel better in Europe as far as, you know, our rights for food, the food rights. And I feel that Germans, my biggest suggestion to Germans, because the Germans were really the ones that led a lot of this biological food movement, healthy eating movement. I mean, if I'm outside of Germany, many people are talking what the Germans are doing and what they've done well, you know. And the Germans need to keep staying active and aware of what's coming in. And they need to talk about it with each other, and they need to make certain actions or movements towards this consciousness. This country does not need to get overrun with GMO foods. Absolutely not.
Okay, that are hard words, but important words. I think. I hope it leads somewhere. Let me come back to the male and female. I mean, it's not that I am just male and you're just female, but my understanding is that both of the energies have to be within us, and we have to balance it out in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we do that, or what do you do with the people that are coming to you or in your groups to balance male and female energy?
Well, first we become aware, like in the Sacred Female Rising workshops, we become aware of our own individual energy fields. What does that feel like? Okay, what does the feminine feel like to you? Do you feel that as feminine energy, actually? You know, what does the masculine feel? If you feel masculine, what does that look like for you? And we cover that. So we stay really with the individual before we get into the generalized perspectives of male or female. We stay with the individual because for one person, something male might feel something completely different to someone else, right? And we do an interesting exercise to really highlight this and to really bring it out, and that's it, the yin-yang exercise, where the women are actually getting on their feet and they're standing across from each other. And one woman will take the yin, so her action will just be to do only this action on the feet, standing in front, and the other woman will take the yang, and she'll come from right here in the belly, and she'll go and really just to take this movement, and they'll both be in this movement of the yin and the other one the yang, and see what happens. And then they'll change roles, and the other one will take the yang, and the other one the yin. And this is very interesting to highlight. How does that much force feel in the body if I use it in that direction? Where does that sit in my body? Is it more in my power chakra? Is it in my root? Am I feeling it up here? And that really comes home to the women. And what's very interesting also is when both the women do the yin at the same time for some minutes, you know, it's like, okay, this is nice, but it's getting a little bit boring. I'm only going like this, you know. Okay. And then when both women do the yang, wow, the energy starts to, it doesn't work either, you know, and it gets bigger and bigger, and they're just laughing, or some women have to stop doing it because it's too much for them. You know. And then we do the exercise over again. We do the yin and yang again on both couples. And this is what's bringing, it's crystallizing it, it's making it clear.
Making aware what is what, and trying to, then where's my part, where's my energy, and can it shift from situation to situation?
Absolutely.
Or do I always have to be in the middle, so to say, always balanced? I mean, who is that? But making aware of that, maybe now I'm too much. And on the one side,
it can help. Like, well, when I have these certain situations come up in my life, I notice that I handle them really in this way, really with a lot of male energy, so-called male energy and force. I'm handling it like the yang. I go really. But maybe I don't always want to handle those situations in that way, because I found over time that sort of gets me into trouble. I get more arguments that way in these certain situations. So now I have more consciousness about that. Perhaps I can just do this when those situations come up for me and see what happens. Just as ein Spiel. Yeah. And these are just really small things, but it's amazing how simple and effective they are.
Can be the other way around too, so that you're too relaxed and let everything happen around you.
Exactly.
And sometimes you have to stand your ground, so to say, and put on the other energy and say, stop,
absolutely.
Now this is enough.
Just like that. And so we can go over certain situations in our life where we tend to run into so-called trouble or lesson or experience, and we can activate that in the moment. Once we've experienced it one time, we're very quick. I mean, we're amazing beings. We're human beings. We're incredible. And,
before we came here, you did a ritual with me, so to say, or
a session.
I don't know if a session.
A session.
So you're going through. First, we talk a little bit to find out what is my problem, or is there a problem, or what I'm feeling like, and you're going through the chakras and so on. Can you explain that a little? What you do and what's happening there?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. It's a quantum shamanic session. As I said before, we call it healing, but I said, I would like to call it maybe a consciousness holder, a person that can hold the consciousness in the moment. But we use, for lack of a better word, healer
Then
at the
your
moment.
business club gets
Yeah.
along when we have all this quantum
All these
field
words that people are
ideas.
going, what is that supposed to mean? Basically the session begins like some questions. Why are you here? What's going on in your life? And then when those are answered, okay, maybe a few questions in this realm. What went on before? What are you moving towards? What are you moving away from? Certain key questions, so I can watch the body, I can watch the breath, I can watch the reactions. And when that 20 minutes or half an hour is finished, then I read the chakras. Right? So I use this, basically my third eye, to go into your field, but all of myself, actually, all of this intelligent consciousness, and to look and see what's happening. Is the chakra running? Is it fit? Is it running slowly? Is there too many old pictures in there? Or, like I would say sometimes, too much chakra sludge, that's what we call it in the business.
Okay.
Work on your chakra sludge, would you? And then after I check, I share it. I share what I've seen, and we talk about each chakra. And then we weave in some of the feedback from the initial part of the session. And we pinpoint one, I like to call it like a thread, because we're all these really amazing, complex, blankets. We're so interwoven.
Yes.
And I said, okay, this thread is not really working for you, so let's
Where
begin
does it
to
come
locate.
from?
Yeah, let's begin to locate this thread. Oh, I don't want to come.
No, two.
And yeah,
Okay.
and
Maybe it's two
maybe
threads. Okay.
not too many at one time.
Okay.
We begin to just pull it,
Yeah.
and the way of pulling it is first to become aware of it, and the way to become aware of it is to feel it. And many times it's often quite subtle. It's become so normalized in our system that we don't see it as separate. But when we do certain things and exercises, and during the actual energetic session when the person lays on the massage bench, we can start to highlight and give it a little pull.
See what's happening.
See what's
and
happening.
Where it's leading. And
Yeah, and see how the body responds.
as I said before, you have to be quite sensitive for that, but everybody can learn that. Feeling that energies, I can't imagine to do that, but it can be in different ways. One sees maybe colors or something, the other one is sensing something.
Or feeling it, or knowing, this sense of knowing
Yeah.
that we get. That
So it can have a lot of different forms that it comes to you, but everybody can learn to be more sensitive to what's coming there.
Absolutely. And now on the planet, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Because we're faster.
That's right. That's another topic I think
Yeah.
we can talk about, because we are in a very special time. A lot of things are happening, and maybe the things we are talking now about 10 years or 20 years ago, nobody would want to watch it or wouldn't be open
Exactly,
for that.
yeah.
Is that right? Do you see
That's right.
changes?
Absolutely.
Rapid changes?
Absolutely. Yeah, I see it and feel it. Yeah.
And where does it lead us? I mean, are you worried about the future, or do you think that it's exciting because a lot of things are coming up now and so they're ready to change, or what's your perspective?
No, I don't really worry so much about the future. Sometimes when I read certain information, I get information, I go, oh my goodness, how can it be, But then, I open my field and just sit in what is. And I think it's an amazing time to be on the planet. Yeah, we're expanding, we're growing. I mean, I look at my short lifetime thus far. 45 years, just turned 45.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, look at that. Look at the last 20 years. Look at the topics of conversation you can have now, which you wouldn't have been able to have 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
I mean, I started my energetic healing training when I was 19, 20, right, with a woman outside of San Francisco. And the chief came a bit later, so I started quite young. And I worked with her for 5 years. And now I feel if it would have been around this time, it would have been like 6 months or a year.
Mm.
Yeah, because that's how much faster energetically we're moving.
That's exciting. We are really in exciting times, and so you said not to worry about things because everything that is. So you accept the truth of what is.
We have to accept the truth of what is. What makes us, I mean, it simply is.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, it simply is right now.
Yeah.
What is.
You don't judge it. You just get a consciousness for that is. And if we want something changed, you use what you can change within yourself.
Yeah. And then sometimes we go out with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're human beings. We live in this world now. You know, we live in duality. Yeah. And it's not about getting spiritual skills and saying, okay, I don't feel anything anymore. You know, I'm spiritually bypassing everything that's happening here. No, we need our emotions and our passion also. And if you see something, then give yourself 10 minutes to go, oh, I don't like that. What I see, that is really, you know, you know.
Red alert.
And yeah, red alert. some other words in there, you know. Yeah. And then bring it back down.
And say, okay.
Okay.
Okay, what does it do to me?
And what can I do about it now? Yeah. You know.
And of course you have to be always aware. A lot of things that are in the outer world have nothing really to do with your life. You watch something on TV and you think, oh, have you heard there and that there's war and there's that. And if you make it to your problem, then of course you think, I can't cope with that.
Yeah, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
It can become overwhelming.
Sometimes it's good just to see, okay, that's happening in the world, okay, but I only can change what's around me and what's within me.
Yeah, we start with ourselves. I mean, if that's something over there is really affecting you, what's happening in other countries, then it might be a topic for you and you should follow through with it. Because maybe there are some people to meet. Maybe there is a rally point or something like that. Maybe it's something good experientially for you to put your energy towards. But be careful it doesn't become like a black cloud over your head. Yeah. And if it does become a black cloud over your head, well then that's probably what was needed for growth, right?
Yeah, but not every problem in the world is your topic.
Exactly.
But
there
if might be a resonance because something maybe in your past and former lives and your ancestry, that there may have been something that has to do with that, and you can look at that, but you don't have to traumatize everything that's around happening on this planet.
Yeah.
But okay, you call it quantum.
Shamanic.
Shamanic, yeah. That are two different words. I mean, the one word is pretty modern and scientific. I mean, quantum physics and stuff, and the other is very old. How do they get together? I mean, quantum. The native Indians didn't talk about quantum physics, I think.
Yeah, but they did all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's just a name, a modern name for the same thing.
Yeah, basically. It comes, you know, I like to talk about doorways when I'm in sessions or in the groups, and I'd like to say a bit more about the groups after. And we all have different doorways, and that's wonderful. We all have different ways into our symbolic world, our spiritual world. A world which gives us energy, which can feed us. Some have yoga, some have Buddhism, some have standing on their head and eating tofu, I don't know what, you know. And it's all good. Because it's yours. It's your individual way to express that part, which we all have, right? And for me, the quantum realms, well, you and I can derive many incredible tools, and they're very simple. You know, I think the quantum discoveries are so exciting. Yeah. Yeah, they're really cool.
A lot of things coming out in science today that were very esoteric back then, and now
they're all being proven.
Can prove
that. Yeah.
Yes. You were talking about the groups you are doing. what's happening there? I mean, does it also have an effect, not just for the group, but for the bigger
Absolutely.
thing, big picture?
Absolutely. Energetics, you know, that has a world of its own. Energy's moving.
Do you do certain things with every group, or is every group different, and is always have one? Do you see what's happening in this group and wait and do you have a concept what you do with the group before, or do you just say let's see what they have?
Yeah, it depends. It depends. Basically, the framing before the work began. So we have the Sacred Female Rising workshops. They travel around Germany, and they go also abroad, and that basically has a format. Yeah. But when the women are in the circle, then there's always time for, okay, what is the circle creating right now? What's being spoken? Yeah. Without words. Yeah. We have the moon groups in Hamburg, so the women are meeting on the new and the full moon, and those groups have a wider berth, so to speak. So we're letting the consciousness of the group sort of form the evening. Yeah. We also have a medicine woman training. It's the first one this year, and that was very inspirational, very wonderful, with 12 women. And there's work for the second year, and that is work that I do with a partner, and her name's Medi Becker, and I think she will be on later. And it's called Lighting the Way. And this is a very specific work. This is a very rich work, and it is also a very deep work. And this work is done in a circle, and I am facilitating the circle. And it's basically to release deeper trauma. And much of the trauma women come in with is a certain type of abuse, sexual abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse.
There's much more around than we think. I mean, even rape, it's quite common in the families I hear. That's not every 100th girl has it, but like every third, or I don't know what.
There was just a new article from the BBC that I brought in here, actually. And they say more than 1 out of 3 women. And there's a new study from WHO and from an organization in South Africa and from London. And the percentages, they're calling it epidemic. It's just everywhere. Too high.
And not only the girls, boys are also...
I was just going to say that. Children in general. And
it's happening in the families. Nobody's talking about, because everybody, so to say, or most of them are part of it, and so they don't want to talk about it. It's a very sensitive topic, I think.
It's a very sensitive topic. And for Germany and other Western countries, we have a 23.5% rate. And that's quite high. You know, and from what I've seen, Medi and I, what we've seen in the groups is that it takes some time for the women to come to it. So it's unless the abuse is really extreme, and we hope not. But if the abuse isn't so extreme that other people can see it, that's what I mean. Then it's usually starting to emerge, to come out as a topic to work on in the mid to late 30s and early 40s. That's when the women feel grounded enough or fit enough to begin to deal with that topic.
Okay. So you wouldn't suggest if someone is pretty young to deal with that topic?
Well, if it comes up for them and they see that and they're attracted to it, absolutely. Then they may be ready.
Okay. But mostly it takes a while that you get a little more settled, and then you... Because most of the people are not aware about abuse that has been taking place in childhood. You seal it off, and you don't want your consciousness is hiding it somewhere, so it doesn't have to deal with it. Or
and it reeks. I mean, in the study, I've known this anyway, but we see what happens with the human psyche, what happens with the health of the individual, the physical health of the individual. And many of the women that have had these sort of experiences in life have many troubles with their physical health, with their psychological stability. And so we handle it in this way, in an organic way, not with medication, not with too much talking. We simply create a very safe circle. We take a small group of women at a time, and that's important because everyone would need their individual attention. And I'm doing the energy work, and then at some point, when it's time within the circle, after we start, the circle widens, and there's a massage bench even in the circle, and Mehdi will begin to do very deep, emotional, and energetic body work. And so the woman is not separated from the other women, and this is really incredible what happens, because it's a very cathartic and releasing situation for all of the women. They can feel, sometimes you will see the women respond just right before the woman on the bench does.
Mm-hmm. Because it's in the field.
Yeah,
And
they got,
the
exactly.
Okay.
And they are assisting her. They're supporting her.
Yeah.
And she feels seen, and she feels supported, you know. And the other women are like a witness and safe.
Course. Yeah, that's important, because you haven't been safe when it happened.
And you had no witness when it happened.
Yeah. So you may be in self-doubt because you're not sure did it really happen, or is it just
my imagination or something? Yeah.
So
and the body never lies.
Okay.
The body, you know, if you're working on someone, or if we're a person, we're holding someone, just like this, and we're talking, and you watch the diaphragm, you watch the breathing of that individual. You can see everything happening here, because the body holds truth. If we go to the body, it is very honest.
Can't lie there.
No.
Okay. Let me ask another question, because you're originally from California and have been in England, and now you're in Germany. Is it just because fate put you here, or is your impression that, how do you feel in Germany, and do you think it's important that in Germany things happen?
That's a very good question, Joe.
You
do. You do.
Yeah, you have good answers, I hope. If not,
Well, hopefully so far so good. Well, I was born in England, and like I said, then at 12 and a half we went over to the United States after many jumping arounds.
Hot topic.
Yeah, hot topic. And I sort of ended up in Spain at some point, and I fell in love with a beautiful German guy there. It's a real love story.
Happens. Yeah,
yeah, happens. You know, those Germans, you can find them everywhere, all over the planet, you know?
It's amazing, yeah.
You guys are getting out there. It's great.
Spain especially, okay.
Spain especially, pretty close to home, okay. And, and then began our life together. It was like sort of like a coming home feeling. And at some point, we decided, we lived in Spain for a few years, and at some point we decided, are we going to go to California, or are we going to go to Germany? And our energy...
Tough choice, isn't
it? Sometimes. And then we decided Germany, for now.
Okay.
And that felt good. That felt good. And you said something, and there is something there for me that's karmic, to be beyond the relationship, beyond the love story, and the two children. There is something for me that's karmic here. Years before, when I used to run goddess groups in Los Angeles when I was working there as an actress, I used to have these visions of coming to Europe and cleansing the sites where the women were burned as witches. Yeah. And it just sort of keys into the Cleanse Site project. There is a project through Sacred Female Rising where we go out and we do that with groups of people. And then later, after living here a few years, I found out that my mother's father was in the Royal Air Force. He was very good at his job. He was a pilot. And he had extensive flying routes over Germany during the war. Berlin and Dresden were two of them. And another city, I can't remember the name. And also North Africa. So I know that my grandfather was coming over here dropping many bombs on this land. And I had had the vision to come and cleanse sites, you know. So I thought, wow, look at that. Okay, so there is also a karmic reason in a way.
there might also be something, I mean, if you have a Native American background, but we are all souls incarnated here, and maybe there's not only shamans in America, but here also. I mean, you have the Druids and
The
Celtic.
Celts. Well, and I have Celtic ancestors, you know, through my English side. I'm very much connected with England and the Druids.
We know very little about that background, but it's probably much more interesting, and we should deal with it much more, because there's a lot of knowledge should be there, but
absolutely. And I talk about that in the consciousness matrix for Trog, in which I sort of bridge shamanism and the quantum. And there's a Vertrag, and at the end there's a little ceremony. Because from what I've seen being here in Germany, and also when I go back to England to visit family and go there and do works, is that there is a resurrection of sorts to the past for Germans and other Europeans. So it's like this information, which actually is in our cells, it is a part of us, wants to come back through. You know, there's a reason why Germans have been so connected to native Indian teachings.
Yeah.
There's been many, many native Indians that have come here and still are coming here and giving teachings, because they resonate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, this is a strong connection. And I've been to different sites, like in Harz, in different areas of Germany, where the Celts were. Yeah. Or where even the older ancestors were. And they were connected to the earth, so they were like medicine people and shamans also.
Yeah. But we know little about that time, because, you know, somebody writes history books and they probably don't want to know us about what our strengths are and what our real qualities are as a people or whatever. So we have to find that out. But you do a lot of work. And how is it for you in Germany? Are there many people who are interested in that work? So you're mostly having female groups. I feel a little bit secluded from that, but it's a special work, that healing the
That's what I feel.
part.
I feel it's a special work, and it's necessary right now on the planet. But I do other works with men, like I said, the Consciousness Matrix for Trog. That's one evening. Yeah, and if I've had some men come up to me and go, "Hey, Mira, what about the sacred male rising?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Great, do it, man. Get busy."
Maybe after the show.
We're getting ready. Yeah, that's absolutely necessary. Men had their own collectives. You know, if we go back 5, 6, 7, 8,000 years from what we know, men had their own spirituality, sort of separate from the female. So the female had her group, where basically she gave thanksgiving. She gave thanks to the earth. To the nature, exactly. And the men had their hunter collectives. They had their own ceremonies, you know, and basically they would apologize for the letting of blood before they went on the hunt. So the men had their own circles, and I feel it's a really great thing and a healthy thing and a very supportive thing for men to come together in their circles.
That's very exciting and very interesting. You have a homepage where people can find more about what you do?
It's www.sacredfemalerising.com.
One word?
One word.
Okay. So I hope a lot of people got the picture for what you're doing, and how important it is, and how much it can affect each and every one of us, because there's a lot of things that we don't know about that can come out in a session. You do single sessions with person coming to you also, if someone says, "Okay, I want to have a session with you," you do that?
I do that, yeah.
Okay.
The space I work in is in Hamburg.
Yeah.
And all the information is basically on the website. There's a German website and an English website.
How does it work with the language? In the groups, do all the females understand your English?
Well, actually, there's translation.
Yeah.
There's always translation there for groups. And sometimes it just happens that all the women are okay with English, you know. And in the sessions, well, I do speak a bit of German.
I would be happy to hear some of that.
Really, right now?
Yes, sure.
Okay, ich kann sprechen ein bisschen Deutsch, ja, aber nicht so gut, aber das ist auch okay. Ich kann verstehen mir, ja.
So, we did the whole interview in English and now you say you speak
Oh no,
German.
I think the German people go, oh no, please don't let her speak more German. She's going to butcher our language.
Okay, we're at the end of the interview anyway.
Yeah, so only a few lines left.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you would allow me,
Yes.
I would love to end with a song
Okay.
for the people.
That's perfect ending.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I say thank you for what you shared with us, and I want to hear what you sing. It's a song for.
It's a song for the women. I'm going to sing it one time through, and then I'm going to sing a song for the men one time through.
Okay.
Right. So there's
Go ahead.
that balance.
Oh, thank you. I've felt so male here and so secluded, but I'm not.
No, but you're not. But
Just
you're
kidding,
not. You
just
know,
kidding.
the chief that I work with says, in every man in his heart there is a little woman,
Yeah.
and in every woman in her heart there's a little man, and we know that.
Perfect. Okay,
Thank you,
now
dear.
let's hear the song.
Okay. So this song is an earth song. It's a very old song. And it's a song from the earth for all people, because we are one earth and one people. The song is for the women. We start with the women. It's a healing song. It's a medicine song. And it's for the empowerment of the feminine. Inan tonan siglan. 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 Well away, hi, oh, 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 well away, hi, oh. Way a hey a nay a way a hey a nay a way a hey a nay a hey hi oh. Way a hey a nay a way a hey a nay a way a hey a nay a hey hi oh. Well away hi oh well away 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 hi oh. Inan tonan siglan. Inan tonan siglan. From Mother Earth. Inan tonan sig. Inan tonan siglan. And now for the men, blessing for the men. Achahita, oh Achahita, hey Achahita, oh Achahita.